Hello everyone, myself Dr. TV Nagaraju. I am working as an associate professor in Department of IT, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. So in the series of Java programming, now we are going to discuss about generic programming components. First of all, what is mean by programming component? Anything that we are used inside the program. Class is a programming component, method is a component, interface is a component, even variable is also a programming component. Now, what is the term generic? The name itself specifies it is general. For example, if you are using a variable, the variable of type integer, float, character means the variable is specifically an integer type which holds only integer value. Coming to generic means it can accept any type. So, general, a common name is called as generic. Now, what are the programming components that accepts generic? So we have generic types are there, generic methods, generic classes, generic interfaces. First we will discuss what are the each and everything. Finally we will conclude with one example program. Coming to generic type. The name specifies the types which are ready to accept any type of data are called generic types. So here different generic types are there. T specified type, E specify element, K is the key, V is the value. What are all these things? So everyone know the collection interface. For example, you are writing the interface like this, collection within angular bracket we are writing the type. Remember, within angular brackets we are writing the type. For the collection, I written E means the collection can handle any type of elements. E specify elements. K comma V. These are used under the framework map. That means a dictionary, key and value. Anyway, T specifies the normal data types, integer, float, character, etc. Once we move to the example, you will get the clear idea. So, these are the different types that we are going to use. Now, the most important generic method. So, a method in the sense, what is the syntax of the method? That is signature of the method, return type, the name of the method with some parameters. What is the return type? Based on the operation we are performing, it returns, for example, one simple example, int add of int a comma int b. This is a method which is used to perform addition of two integer numbers. Remember, here the return type is integer. The two parameters are integer. While calling the method, you need to call add of 2 comma 3. The 2 comma 3 must and should be integer. Now the thing is, suppose in your program, if you want to perform addition of two floating numbers, what you need to do? Again, you need to write one more method with parameters as float. Suppose double, again one more method with parameters are double. That means if at least if one data type changed means you need to write the method one more time. Yes, to avoid such a problem, these generic methods are used. Here, what is the syntax? Instead of specifying the exact, that is specific data type, use a generic data type. Whatever you discuss, T, the generic data type T. Suppose add of T space A, T space B. Return type is also T. Now, you are calling the method with 2 comma 3. Automatically, T is converted into an integer. If you are calling the method with 2.3 comma some 4.2, these T are converted into float. Suppose add of 2 comma 3.2. First parameter is integer, second parameter is float. Anyway, 3.2 means by default double. That's another thing. First one is integer, second one is real. Now the thing is, instead of writing the same method by changing the data types, the generic method solves the issue. Clear? Now, Coming to the third category, we are applying the generic to classes. First of all, what is the class and what is object? Everyone know the class is a blueprint or a logical entity. What is the main purpose of class? The class main purpose is to generate objects. That is, class is used for generating or creating objects. Suppose one student class is there which consists of some parameters, roll number, name, age. With that, there is no use. If you are creating one object, student 1, so here it knows the student 1 information, that is name of student 1, roll number of student 1, age of student 1. Now, from the same class, you can create student 2, same class, you can create student 3. You got the point? For one class, you can create any type of student. So, if the members are integer, float, depending upon the information. Now, what is mean by the generic? Which is also used to create objects of different data objects. That is, objects of different types. How do you syntax? The complete syntax is same. The additional thing is after the class name, within angular brackets specify T. I will explain with an example, no problem. T means the type of object that we are going to generate. Now the last one, interface. Anyway, the basic thing, we have an interface means interface is must and should be implemented by one class. Now what is the generic interfaces? The interfaces which are implemented by generic classes. So again, the complete same syntax, we are using the angular bracket T. So these are the different components. That means we are applying the generic to variables, in the sense type, methods, classes and interface. Now coming to one simple example. This is my simple example. Here what you are doing? First, I create one class text. I create one class text. Observe within angular brackets, I written T. Okay. Now, two methods I used. One is getter method. Another one is setter method. You know the thing. Setter method is used for setting the value. Getter method is used for getting the value. In my one example only, I will show two things. Generic classes, at the same time generic methods. Now see, I created one variable OB. What is the type? T. The getter method simply returns the object. The setter method sets the object. Now observe the thing, the parameter here, the return type of the method is T. Here the parameter type is T. That means I don't know the exact data type. While calling the method set to OB, if I call the method with string object, automatically it will become a string. If I call the method with a double object, it will become double. Call the with integer object, it will become integer. You got the point? For this class, you can generate any type of objects. Now coming to the main method, see, text integer. Now in this, the T is replaced with integer. Remember, integer is a wrapper class. So integer object is equal to new integer. Now what happened? One object is created which will hold only integer information. So I am calling the method new integer. I think you know that one. Already wrapper class concept is completed. How do you pass the value? 123 is a normal primitive data type. New integer of 123 is an object. So even though, I forgot to pass OB dot set to OB of 123, is it right or wrong? No problem, it will also correct. But by internally, this primitive is automatically converted into integer. That is also no problem. But exact syntax purpose, this one. Once you call this one, automatically here the OB is an integer object in this 123. Now OB1 dot get OB. Once you call the method, it returns the value. What is the value? Whatever the value we passed, that is 123. Exactly. String data object. Now see this one. Here, in case of integer, here I passed string. The remaining procedure is completely same. I am setting a string value. I am retrieving the value. Finally, come to the conclusion. What we understand here? What we understand in this simply generic means it can create any type of object. Yes or no? This is an integer object. This is a string object. Any type of data with any type of method. Now, it can take any type of data with any method. Clear? These are generic programming components. Generally, where we are using all this? What is the need of this generic programming? Suppose if you are moving to the collection framework, what is a framework? The structure readily available. Just you are using. So, which data type you are using? So, I am using integer. You are preparing one framework with integer. Suppose another person double, another person flow to double, another person into flow to into double. Different combinations. For all such combinations, creating a separate method, creating a separate structure is a very difficult. That is the reason they used this generic. Once generic is used, it simplifies the task of multiple creations. Clear? That is the end of generic programming components. Now, in the next session, we are going to discuss the collection interface, how these generic components are used inside the collection interface. That is the end. Thank you.